Alright, if anybody's out there, say hello. Just a random Wednesday night chat. I'm watching a cool show on PBS about the Voyager 1 and 2 spacecraft that were launched back in 77. Summer of 77 of Voyager 1 and Voyager 2, I believe, a few years after that. I think Voyager 1 is the first interstellar spacecraft. Just a different topic for tonight. Hello. Netra Morosi, Bad Wolf Plays. Hello. Can you guys hear me okay? How's everybody doing? So yeah, I'm watching PBS, a 2-hour special about the Voyager spacecrafts that were launched. The first one was launched back in 1977. It's you know, it's kind of cool. Back then there was no internet, no smartphones and stuff like that. So and it's a moment back in history where, you know, at that time those scientists were the first people in the world to get the first glimpses, close-ups of Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune, and Uranus. And I believe that I know one of them, Voyager 1, has gone interstellar to leave our solar system. And it's still, both of them, I think, are still sending back messages. Loud and clear, okay. Metro, you heard about Manowakri, which uses GTK. Okay, I don't know what Manowakri is. I guess a new distro. Hi, Rose. How are you? How you doing? I been watching a 2-hour special on PBS about the Voyager spacecrafts. Cool stuff. You know, it must have been exciting to be a scientist, you know, 30, 40 years ago, watching the first color photos close up of the planets Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune, and Uranus, and then their moons. Yeah, you know, this was before internet, smartphones, and stuff like that. There was no live streaming back then, so. Think blank on Linux. Okay, let's see. I thought we had lost the Voyager probe. No, from what I understand, they are still transmitting, or at least one of them is. I mean, I'm watching it live now on my TV set. I thought about streaming it, but I wasn't sure about copyright issues, so. But, yeah, 1977, Saturn moons, and then it entered interstellar space, entered in 2012. There was a movie called Interstellar, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so it's a new desktop environment based on GNOME. Okay, all right. So let me read this real quick, and you guys can chat about whatever you want to. So I won't be on too late tonight. So well, let's see. This has been quite a week, space week for Americans. Okay, Monday's stunning solar eclipse. Wednesday night, that's tonight, of course. 2-hour documentary about the 2 Voyager missions launched 40 years ago. These were nuclear-powered spacecraft. Okay, have traveled farther than any other man-made machine and have forever changed our views of the solar system. Using period music that includes Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon, right? real data from the missions, and amazing computer animations. All right. The film tells the story of the many unparalleled scientific achievements of this very successful, still ongoing space mission. Okay, so Voyager 2 flew by Uranus and Neptune, and Voyager 1 is the first craft to leave the solar system, launching humanity into the interstellar age. I guess Voyager is the first mini Star Trek or Starship, right? Yeah, so there's interviews. Consider that the total computing power of the Voyager spacecraft is less than that of a smartphone. Wow. Think about that. The total computing power of Voyager is less than that of a smartphone. Pretty impressive. So we now live in an era of exoplanetary astronomy and the search for other planets circling distant stars. Of course, on board that craft was the Golden Record that you may have heard of. It had music and pictures of Earth, hopefully for other civilizations to see. Basically, it was a golden record that said hello. Hello, Spin Viking. Let's see here. The astronomer Carl Sagan, brilliant mind. He was the genius to come up with this idea, and his son, Nick, says something on that recording, on that record. Of course, back then he was a kid. He says something like, hello, the message to other beings, if they exist. He said, hello from the children of Earth. Of course, now he's grown up. But that was pretty cool, to have your voice as a child on a disc traveling to the stars. Yeah, so thumbs up for Nick Sagan. Okay. So Rose says, let's send a smartphone. I heard that the space station got a supercomputer run by Linux. Yes, I believe it is run by Linux, Rose. That is correct. The camera freezes up at times. Yeah, I don't know what's it seems okay on my end, so hopefully you guys can hear me at least. Anyway, cool show. I think it ends here in about half an hour, so. $11 billion mile journey. Wow, that's a lot. I think I said it was traveling like 30,000 miles per hour or something like that. 10 miles a second. It's pretty fast. Yeah, Rose, that's there's a lot going on with YouTube. There's a lot of channels, quite a few channels. I know YouTube's trying to fix things up, you know, with the ad revenue, AdSense, and advertiser-friendly stuff, but it's a big mess, and it's affecting channels with, you know, hundreds of thousands of subscribers. So yes, Netra, not a lot on the stellar scale, that is true. We are, of course, the Voyager spacecraft, and we are just a speck of dust in the whole scheme of things. So, yeah. Bad Wolf is not advertiser friendly either. Well, we'll see how things go this year with YouTube and how they fix this mess with advertiser-friendly content. But I'll continue to post random, you know, humorous advertiser-friendly videos. You got hit with copyright violations with no music, Bad Wolf? If it's not music, was it pictures? I mean, how else can you get hit with the copyright, right? I don't know. Yeah, how does that happen? It just said in 40,000 years, Voyager will go past other stars in 40,000 years. Oh well, it's too slow. On the scale of things, yeah, the spaceship is moving, the spacecraft is moving too slow. If we're going to travel to other planets, stars, we really do need a form of a warp drive. And apparently the warp drive is theoretically possible. There was a book written late 90s called The Physics of Star Trek. And they said that the book says that anything, just about everything in Star Trek is possible except the transporter. So take that any way you want to. But yeah, it is theoretically possible to create an engine or engines, a warp drive, to bend space. So instead of your spaceship traveling at that speed, you're taking space, that distance in the middle. And so in other words, if you're trying to travel from here to here, you can bend this, you can bend the space and bring it closer to you, to the ship, hence the warp drive. You got hit for songs. Oh. Okay. Yeah, VidMe, Mixer, Twitch, there are options, yes. Music was disabled in the menu and you still got hit for songs. Okay. You'll be watching that on PBS Your Time. Yeah, check it out. It's pretty cool. If you miss it, it'll probably be repeated, I'm sure. I don't know when. I remember the original TV series called Cosmos, hosted by Carl Sagan. It was pretty cool. I think 2 years ago there was a updated one with the guy from Star Talk, Neil deGrasse Tyson. If we can fold space at some point, we can have a warp transporter, or whatever kids are calling it today. Well, I think that's the theory behind a warp drive, is to bend, bend space. So bring the space closer to you versus you going to that specific point in space. If I got that right. You think the bot just saw the game itself? The songs are listed. Listed are songs that are in New Vegas. Okay. Niraj Kumar, where can you start learning Linux? It's all over YouTube, man. You can start with my channel if you want to. You can go to QuidsUp, Destination Linux. Yeah, you know, 10 years ago there really wasn't a lot of good content as far as Linux goes. But nowadays there's quite a bit. It's saturated, which is good for you guys. Boy, those Saturn rings are quite beautiful. Quite colorful. Yeah, Joe Collins. Sure. Yep. Like I said, versus what was on YouTube 10 years ago, there's a lot about Linux nowadays. So I guess in a way, this channel isn't so special anymore like it was, 7 years ago. There is talk of sending humans to Mars. I believe Elon Musk, SpaceX have some kind of project going on. Privatize it. I think it would be a one-way journey, and I believe they're taking a poll now or something that if you wanted to travel to Mars and you were qualified, you could go. I'm not sure when, but it would be a one-way journey with today's technology. At least that's what I read. And I'm sure the spacecraft would use Linux, I think. You know, you would think after we landed on the moon that, here we are, and we landed on the moon several times, but we can't land a person yet on Mars. It's almost like it's taking too long. Like we've gone backwards. The late great Carl Sagan said about the space shuttle, sending up space shuttle flights into Earth orbit, and then back, kind of like an airplane. He says that's not exploration. Sending humans to the planets and then to stars, that's exploration. And he was right. The first private space flights start next year. I don't know, Bad Wolf. I don't know. Is it only for the rich? Well, I suppose so, but it'd still be fun to watch. Hey, it would be a live stream, right? Mars is a no-fly zone. Bad Wolf, I believe half the spaceships, or half the spacecraft sent to Mars don't make it. Half of them. Now, call it what you want. Bad luck, aliens, bugs. Half of them don't make it, but the ones that do, like the what's the little robot that's still traveling on the surface? Is it Rover? Curiosity? Opportunity, I believe it's called. Many years later, though, those little go-karts are still running on Mars. Well, not running, but rolling very slowly on Mars. I think it's fascinating. I don't think the public as a whole has lost interest. I mean, I'm watching it now. The public has a lot of interest in stuff that is not normal. Look at the eclipse Monday. I mean, here in Ohio, it's no big deal to me, but it was watched live by a lot of people here in the U.S., so there is an interest. But it has to be something that tangible, something that the public can see, something unusual. And I believe that sending humans to Mars, well, I mean, it would be new. It'd be the first time in history. I would watch it, wouldn't you? Use Windows. You will see a blue screen. If Windows fail, you would need authorization codes for all sections of the spacecraft. Well, Rose, I suppose they could use Windows and have Ubuntu Mate as the backup for the spacecraft. The Mars rover still sends images back randomly. Yes. Yeah. I was on the NASA space webpage tonight. Beautiful pictures, considering that at any given time it averages 100 million miles away. Think about that. 100 million miles away, and we get back HD pictures. That's amazing. Yeah, it's not the same push we had for the moon. Back then it was a challenge from President Kennedy to send, what did he say? To send Americans to the moon, not because it's hard or not because it's easy, but because it's hard or something like that. So there was a challenge. And of course we were in a space race with Russia at the time, if I recall history. But there was a push back then. We wanted to beat the Russians because the Russians put up, was it Sputnik, the first artificial satellite in orbit back in the late 50s. So there was a push, but there's starting to be a push now, at least privately. the push to send more robots and humans to Mars. Yes, Soviets did beat us to orbit with Sputnik 1, I do believe. It was quite an achievement because they got the first. Let's see, in '49 they tested the first atomic bomb, and I think it was like less than 10 years later they had Sputnik. So there was a push. Of course, we landed on the moon. Was it 2, 3 times? But since the moon, it's been kind of boring almost. Let's see. They lost contact with little guy. Then he started sending a few pictures back. I think one of the rovers got stuck. I don't know, in sand or mud or something. I remember reading about that somewhere. And then there was a problem with the solar panels on the top. On the top of the panels, the sandstorms, dust would get on the panels, you know, cutting off power, you know, to its solar cells. So if you have option where you want to leave Earth or Mars, well, it's Earth. If it was safe to go to Mars and it wouldn't take at least 6 months, I think going to Mars would be cool. Yeah. Yep, Mars still needs to be colonized. Well, it needs to be terraformed, right? And that's a massive scale. Terraforming would involve heating the... See if I remember my science. You have to heat up the ice caps on Mars. Let's see. You heat up the ice caps melt, you have water. Water evaporates into a greenhouse effect, and hence you have the beginning of life on Mars. Bad Wolf would go to Mars. Okay, cool. You'd be the first to do a live stream for Mars. Mars OS today. Of course, the days are a little bit longer on Mars, if I recall. Not quite 24 hours. There was a picture sent back from one of the rovers of a sunset on Mars, and way in the distance you can see the little bitty planet Earth, about, you know, that big, and it was like a pinkish cloudy sky. It was stunning. Watch out for the aliens. Well, maybe they can give us a hand, Rose. You know, go there, don't go there. Watch out for the potholes. Bad Wolf with your net woes. Well, chances are, if the spacecraft is sophisticated enough to travel to Mars, it's probably sophisticated enough to have very good bandwidth. Bad Wolf plays on Mars. There you go. 6 months isn't too bad from a historical standpoint. Merchants would take over a year trading between India and Europe and what have you. Okay. Well, hopefully by then we would have a faster form of propulsion, you know, versus outdated rocket engines. No moon, yes life. Well, there's a lot of theories and speculation about the moon, that there may have been life there and so-called structures. What is on the dark side of the moon? I don't know. Hack into that rover, to the rover that got stuck, and send a live stream out. You can probably use one of the rovers as a backup battery. Rose will not go until they prove the technology. Well, how would you prove it? How would it be proven? I suppose it would be proven if we landed humans safely on Mars. Then it's been proven, right? At least one way. But that's how I think it would be proven, Rose, that we sent people there, you know, whatever it takes, 6 months or sooner. And if they land them there safely, then I guess there's your proof. So they're showing the planets again. It's pretty cool. You will wait until they can live on Mars. Okay, all right, fair enough. Landing is the first part, right? Bad Wolf, you're an explorer. I don't need proof. I'll find my own or die trying. They're talking about Jupiter's moon Europa, where they think there might be liquid water on there. There was a sequel to 2001 about that, I think. Um, The Martian, Rose. Yeah, that was actually a pretty good movie, directed by Ridley Scott. That was probably the last good movie he did. I think after that he did, is it Prometheus? No, Martian came out after Prometheus. After that he did Alien Covenant, which was kind of a dud. And he goes to Mars. Who knows? There are supposedly controversial pictures of Mars showing a buried pyramid, the structures. I don't know. Yeah, The Martian was a good movie. It wasn't bad. Yep. It's fairly realistic about sending people to Mars and back, so yeah. So they're talking about how to land a spacecraft on Europa and search for water. Man, it's so far away though. Wasn't there a movie called The Ghost of Mars or something like that? I think so. See, Mars is about slightly smaller than Earth. It has water, frozen water. Um, so it makes sense to go there first. It's not like we don't have the tech already to live on Mars. Yeah. I think if you're going to make it a two-way trip, you would have to send first, before you send people, you would have to send out, I would imagine, habitats first to land on Mars. Then you send the people to Mars, and then they could live in these habitats. Now, I'm not sure how you would extract fuel from the ground or from the soil to recharge the spacecraft, but I think that's the theory behind it. The miners got possessed. Is that what that was the movie? Okay, all right. Bad Wolf will drag Rose to Mars. I don't think Canadians like Mars, except maybe the candy bar. I won't be on too late tonight. I just wanted to jump on real quick and say hello. So, or the people with the habitats, if you want to be bold. Well, let's see here real quick. You prefer Snickers? Why not? No. Mars definitely would not be advertiser friendly or human friendly in the beginning. So it looks like there was a prediction, a manned mission to Mars by the mid-2030s. I guess it's possible. Let's see here. How long does it take to get to Mars? 9 months. Ooh, okay, that's a long time. So there's a project called Mars 1.
This program was made possible in part by contributions to your PBS station from viewers like you. Thank you. The Farthest, Voyager in Space is available on Blu-ray and DVD. To order, visit shoppbbs.org or call 1-800-PLAY-PBS.
Earth isn't human friendly anymore. Part of it, sadly. Just get a company sponsoring you toss to Mars. I'd be happy. I'd be happy if they would just sponsor this channel first. Let's start on Earth first, and then we'll worry about Mars later, right? Is there anyone on Mars? No, at least not that I'm aware of. Well, nature, animals in general are friendly. Humans are the ones that mess it up, right? Yeah, right now Mars is not life friendly. That's why you have to terraform it. And that's a process that would take, I don't know how many years. It's possible, but unless you have some kind of atmosphere, it's going to be hard. Absolutely, yeah. The Raj will destroy Mars. There's a theory going around, or I read that there's evidence of nuclear explosions on Mars, like a nuclear war. If that's true, then Mars was destroyed in a nuclear cataclysm. Of course, it wasn't us, so who set off the nuclear weapons? But search that. There's a theory behind that. It's kind of interesting. Humans are the parasites to the Earth. Well, I suppose. I mean, we're not, I hope. But yeah, humanity has a long way to go. That is true. The first Mars rover was Sojourner, okay? Here's something recent, Journey to Mars from NASA from March 27th of this year, if you guys are interested. This is a cool website. Check out nasa.gov. Alright, I guess the show is over. So they're saying here in the 2020s, astronauts on a year-long mission to Mars. That's not too far away. You heard that Mars was Eden, and we actually destroyed it and came here to continue our destruction. Well, from what I understand about Mars, at one time Mars, they think, had an atmosphere. It was somewhat similar to Earth, that it had life, and then something happened. Now, whether it was nuclear war by other beings, a natural cataclysm, the shifting of the orbit. But there's a lot of theories behind that. But it appears that perhaps at one time Mars was much like Earth. Then something happened. Scientists say we only have discovered 5% of the galaxy, therefore who knows what is out there. I would totally agree. Yeah. You know, the universe is so large and so vast that to say that we are alone, I think is probably not entirely accurate. The question is, do these life forms, whatever you want to call them, do they have the technology to travel these vast distances, like having a warp drive? And if it's theoretically possible for us to build one in the future, maybe they already have, so it doesn't take as long to travel in space. But I don't think we are alone. Do they have the technology to travel so far? That's the question mark, in my opinion. The culture is parasitic. Yep, there have been societies who have lived in harmony. That is true. Absolutely. Let's see what this says here. So Mars 2020 rover. Hello, Fidel. How are you? Just talking about, I was watching a show tonight on PBS about the Voyager spacecraft that were launched back in the late 70s. And one has gone interstellar. Cool. Either humans evolve into machines or become genetic superhumans. Well, that's certainly possible. I like watching Ancient Aliens also. Some of the stuff is very interesting. A lot of speculation. But some of it, you look at it and say, wow, that looks different. It would be a waste of a universe if we were alone. It would be a waste of space. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, so let's see. The new Mars rover will have an advanced camera. Assess minerals of Mars. Something called a dynamics analyzer. You could guest host Coast to Coast AM. I haven't heard that show in a while, but that's a pretty good show. Yeah. I probably could host that or co-host it. Year Million. I believe I've seen one episode of that. It is pretty cool. Yeah. A lot of Ancient Aliens is debunked. That's probably true. Yeah. It's good for entertainment you get and get you thinking, not much more. Well, at least if it gets you thinking, right? Boy, they're going to pack a lot of instruments on this next Mars rover in 2020. My goodness. Spectrometer. Supercam. Cool. I guess 4K. Fidel says, you kind of make me want to become a dual booter to have the best of both worlds. Why not? Right? You see great people all the time, sometimes green, especially behind Tom. If I'm switched to Linux, okay. TJ Wolf is in the house. How are you? TJ, this is just a random chat. I just finished watching a show on... Oh look, Bill Gates is on from Microsoft. Anyway, what was I going to say? Yeah, I was watching the show, a 2-hour special tonight on PBS about the Voyager spacecraft that were launched in the late 70s. One has gone interstellar, and then one of them took the first pictures to be seen by humans, the first pictures of Saturn up close, Neptune, Uranus, Saturn. And of course, back then there was no, live streaming. There was no internet. So those first scientists who saw those first color pictures of other planets, it must have been a special time. So, dual boot Windows 7 Linux Mint Mate, very good. That's right, Rose. You dual boot on the Windows XP for games, I believe, right? So this next Mars rover for 2020 will have a super cam. High resolution infrared spectroscopy and all that stuff. Very good. It seems to me that they should land those rovers next to the those structures, the so-called pyramids of Mars, the face on Mars. Yeah, that's where they should land them. Then show us up close what's really there, right? Yeah, Anna Rita, yes, I did. I am familiar with structures on Mars faces. See, here's the thing about Mars. It isn't just one so-called structure. Carl Sagan, in one of his books, or in the show Cosmos, if I remember back in 1980, we sent a spacecraft to orbit Mars. I forget the name, the top of my head. And it took, Anna, it took not high def, but pictures, what appeared to be structures on Mars. This is back from the late 60s. So, yes, I am aware. And they, no, they have not all been debunked. Not all of them. Not at all. No. Yeah, they won't land. They won't land in those areas. It's super classified. Yeah, that's my guess. The thing is, Bad Wolf, if you see one so-called structure, just one, and you can say, well, it's just an anomaly. It's just a random chance of nature or a freak of nature. You see one, maybe two, three, but when you're seeing what appears to be dozens of different types of so-called structures, now I'm not saying they're physical structures, but when you see more than one multiple times, chances are something's up on Mars. Personal opinion, I can't prove it. Aliens must have got this battery. I don't know. But yeah, those rovers are taking more and more high definition pictures of stuff on Mars that shouldn't be there, or it looks suspicious. Yeah, the face was supposedly debunked, but apparently they forced the picture from a different angle or something. I mean, look at the picture from 1976 and then 120 years later. It's not even close. So I'm not buying it. You know, maybe it's just a freak of nature, but that one just too suspicious. It just, again, if it was just a face and nothing else, okay, it's debunked. When you got a face and a structure and multiple pyramids, and then another structure. I mean, like, it never ends. So, anyway, maybe someday we will know the truth. But there are just too many images on Mars to debunk all of them. There's just too many. What are the odds? What if those people lived on Mars did escape, and if so, where and how? I don't know. If there was a cataclysm, if there was some kind of a nuclear war, and one scientist believes there are landmarks or traces of nuclear fission on Mars, I don't know. Since we're on the subject, let's go structures on Mars real quick. Yeah, it's the region of Cydonia, yes.
Crater Dome. I followed his coordinates. William Benson's coordinates, and there we have it. Let me zoom out a bit just to give you some context. This is a large area, and in fact, is a really good area to search because this area was recently updated in recent years because obviously it was a potential.
There's a word for that. You've seen things that aren't there. That's true. Yes.
Annotations here they've got little pictures and interesting features you can look at.
Ancient Aliens did an updated thing on Mars, and it was pretty interesting. They're showing what appeared to be. Have you seen the glass tubes of Mars? I don't know if they're glass tubes, but whatever they are, they look artificial to me. So. Yeah, there is frozen water on the polar caps. Yes, NASA spots gigantic structures on Mars, 16 stories high. Again, it just never ends. Nixie is a flaky person. She seems nice. Seems nice. I don't want to be abducted. Maybe go on a trip and have proof I went on a trip. Of course, that would not be advertiser friendly. You know, the Autobots would say, hey, Toss, you went with aliens. Not friendly for advertisers. Or something like that. Rose, I was born in New York. Nah, I'm not an alien. Yeah, here's the word pareidolia. The psychological response to seeing faces and other significant everyday items and random stimulus. Anyway. Close enough, New York. Okay. Yeah, I suppose aliens never have a sexy face, do they? They got those eyes, those buggy eyes, right? And a slit for a mouth. Anyway. Former NASA worker claims to have seen men on Mars. Speak of the show, Coast to Coast AM. Have any pictures? Yeah, a nuclear explosion could have sent debris all over the planet. The red color on Mars could be due to a thermonuclear explosion. Interesting. It appears that NASA operators of Curiosity deliberately chose not to take a photo or zoom in on the period. Why not? Yeah, there's just too much going on Mars to say it's all been debunked. I'm not buying that, at least not yet. Just too much going on. Does George Noory do Coast to Coast? I don't know. He's been on Ancient Aliens, I believe. This is the original photo of that face on Mars, 1976. Looks like a face to me. That would be one single extraterrestrial species. Excuse me. Sneeze. Hope I'm not catching an alien bug. If they have nothing to hide, then why not? Well, I think there are. I think NASA is hiding something, personally, yeah. Yeah, octopus definitely seem like a strange creature. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this is the updated picture of that so-called face. It just seems like it's been altered. This is from the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter. I don't know, man. Yeah, something's going on here. I don't buy it. Here's one of the pyramids here. There's a book out about Mars, about Cydonia. The author is Richard Hoagland. Anyway. Yeah, his book called The Monuments of Mars, A City on the Edge of Forever. Check out that book. A lot of interesting speculation. The most alien things on Earth to us are things we see daily. Plants. Well, who knows what is left to be discovered on planet Earth, especially down in the oceans. They said just a small fraction of the oceans have been explored. So, yeah. Maybe in 100 years we'll find the answers. Hope not that long. But check out this book, published '87, The Monuments of Mars, A City on the Edge of Forever. Anyway. Okay, I'm going to wrap this up here in a few minutes, so don't worry about aliens. Soon there will be a super volcano. Super volcano sounds like a title for another Hollywood disaster flick, Rose. Super volcano wipes out half the planet. Great for barbecue and hot dogs, though, or marshmallows. Aliens have colonies under the ocean. Yes, they are called unidentified submerged object, I believe USOs, that some military personnel have come forward to whistleblow, as it were. Yeah, that is true. Yeah, you can search YouTube for structures on Mars. There's a whole bunch. So, yeah. Yellowstone and Naples have the possibility to explode. Well, Naples isn't... what's the volcano there in Naples? Could actually be mermaids in the ocean. Don't know about that. Vesuvius, isn't that the volcano? Yeah. In Pompeii, right? Here's another picture here of, again, structures on Mars. 3 tall structures. I don't know. Anarita, you have no volcanoes near you. Neither do I in Ohio, so I'm safe. If Yellowstone says say goodbye to North America, I guess so. Anyway, supposedly they have found other structures on Mars that are sticking out of the ground like obelisks or something. Like I said, it never ends. It just never ends. So, can you debunk all of them, 100% of them? Personally, I don't think so. Speaking of theories, the new X-Files season is being filmed now for, I believe, for January. The X-Files season 11 with Mulder and Scully. So the truth is still out there after 20 years. All right, Fidel, thanks for stopping by. Yeah, I'm going to end this soon here. I'm getting tired, so very good. What was the movie says the moon landing was a fake? I don't know. There was a movie out about a fake something. I can't remember. X-Files. Yeah, I love the X-Files. Yeah. Let's see here. Anyway, well, I think that's enough of Mars for tonight. Nothing supernatural about mermaids, just our ape ancestors parting ways and taking to the water millions of years ago. Okay? Must have hit the recorder there. Anyway. Well, guys, I am done for tonight. So, just a different topic for this evening. I'm going to see what Bill Gates has to say. He's on the show, on the Charlie Rose interview show. Anyway, that's it. I will save Bigfoot for next time. Nah, there's not. I don't think I'll talk about Bigfoot. I mean, I'll talk about space exploration, stuff that has to do with technology. But Bigfoot, it's going to be hard to blend Bigfoot and technology, or Bigfoot and Linux, Windows. Yeah. Anyway, Bill will give me $1 billion. I could use it this year, thanks to YouTube. Anyway, guys, I am done. So, hey, Bill, you got a spare bill? Anyway, yeah, I am done for tonight. So, guys, I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.